Hi, I'm Bonita, and today on the History Channel, we will be talking about medieval knights. Were they chivalrous protectors or murderous mercenaries? Who were the medieval knights? The medieval knights were soldiers who wore heavy armor to go fight in war for money or land. Knights would also serve one lord, and that lord would give them land in return for their loyalty. Knights could let serfs stay on their land in return for money and labor. Knights were normally the wealthiest of the nobles. Knights had to be at least 21 years of age to become a knight. What were the roles of a knight? Knights had to improve and practice their fighting skills so that they can go to war and protect their lord. And they would also have to live accordingly to the code of chivalry. Now, what is the code of chivalry? The code of chivalry is something that all knights should follow. This code says that knights should be brave, fearless, and loyal at all times.
Hi, I'm Liam, and this is my section of the video. The first question is, where did knights live? Poorer knights live in a castle, owned by their lord or a nearby manor house. By living this way, they would be ready to go to war, protect their lord's land at a moment's notice. The next question is, how did people become knights? The process of becoming a knight started from early childhood. The typical starting point for a page was a young boy of 7 to 10 years old. He was to become a page when he learned to handle horses and to hunt. A page is an attendant to a nobleman, a knight, a governor, or a castellan. From age 14, the next step was to become a squire, or esquire, who had more responsibility than a page, learned to use real weapons, and started an education, especially the study of chivalry. A squire was the shield or armor bearer of a knight. Squires assisted knights in peace and war, holding the extra lances or shields, cleaning their armor, and looking after several horses each knight owned. If all went well, the youth, by then around 18 years old, was made a knight in a ceremony known as dubbing. My last question is, when did knights live? Knights lived in the Carolingian age. In early medieval period, any noble horseman could be described as a knight. The first knights appeared during the reign of Charlemagne in the 8th century. This was my section of the video. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Hi, I'm Izzy and I will be talking to you about what knights' lifestyles were and why they were created. So what were knights' lifestyles then? Well, the lifestyle of a knight during the Middle Ages centered around castles or manors or fighting for his lord and the king during times of war. Much of a knight's time was spent on honing or sharpening his weapons. This would include swords, wooden lace with an iron tip, metal-headed mace, battle axe, and a dagger. He would also improve his skills in fighting, so he was always prepared for any attack on the king or his lord, and keeping his fitness high. Knights would engage in weapons practice at the quintain and the pell. And also, why were knights created? Well, they were formed to protect poor and sick pilgrims in the Holy Land. During the Crusades, they defended the Holy Land from Muslims. There were 3 types of knights: the Templar Knights, the Hospitaller Knights, and Teutonic Knights. Templar Knights were established in the 1100s. They wore white mantles with red crosses and were famous fighters during the Crusades. And the Teutonic Knights were German knights that were once part of the Hospitallers. They wore black clothing with a white cross on the shoulder. After fighting in the Crusades, the Teutonic Knights began a conquest of Prussia. They became very powerful until they were defeated in 1410 by the Polish at the Battle of Tannenberg.
Hello, this is Rikshitha, and in my section of the video, I'll be talking about the tools knights used and the armor they wore. Firstly, we'll be talking about the tools knights used. They used many tools in order to fight. One of the tools knights used was the lance. This is a spear-like weapon that has a metal tip and is wooden. A weapon that we know till this day is the sword. This was also used by the knights. This is a long metal with a sharp tip and a grip for your hands. Another weapon knights used was the mace, which is a long wooden stick with a circular head and spikes. Some other weapons knights used was the axe and dagger. Now let's talk about the armor knights wore. Medieval knights wore a metal armor made from steel or iron. There were two types of armor, a chainmail armor and a plate armor. The chainmail armor was made from many metal rings connected together. The armor was loose around the body. Unlike the chainmail armor, the plate armor may have been uncomfortable as it was metal plates around the body. The plate armor gave lots of protection as it stopped you getting from scratches on your skin. Now let's talk about whether knights were murderous mercenaries or chivalrous protectors. I believe that knights were murderous mercenaries, as in medieval times, money was the only thing that could save you and give you a good life. So they may have only went into battles for the money and not for saving people or protecting their land.